Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, outsiders of all ages, it's time for the Thursday night edition before the divisional round of the playoffs. There are still 8 teams left. They are represented behind me in helmets and one bowling pin. Bowling pin. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to the official picks coming up. We got to talk a little Texas football, some Texas baseball. There's a lot to get to. But first, let's remind you that this is The Outsiders, brought to you by Poncho. PonchoOutdoors.com. Kids, that is Colt in a poncho shirt. Gentlemen, I told you I had somebody on my list that needed a poncho. Check out this handsome bastard right here. Come on, Blake. That's what I'm talking about.
That is awesome.
Come on now. We told you if you love your burnt orange or if you love your maroon or your purple or your red, they've got all your colors. That is Doc Hastings in a poncho shirt right there. And he looks way better in a cowboy hat than I do. Trust me. I can only hope that I'll look that good in a cowboy hat when I am his age. Gentlemen, I want you to know he put himself through a little bit. It was like 20 degrees when I made him go stand outside to take that picture. So there you go. PonchoOutdoors.com.
Chad, you cease to amaze me. Like every single time you go into your goodie bag of tricks, you come up with something even cooler than the time before.
I cease to amaze you, or I never cease to amaze you?
You never cease to amaze me. Let me rephrase that.
Okay, that's good. I don't want to be.
It blows my mind.
Hey,
like the only thing that would have made that even funnier is if Doc Hastings had a pack of Pale Males in his hand, even if he doesn't smoke, but just to do it.
Oh, we should have done the Pale Males. That's what we should have done. That would have been fantastic. I don't know if my mother would have approved of him holding the Pale Males because I couldn't have come up with a reason to buy a pack of cigarettes. That my
I didn't say smoking one. I just said, having the pack.
Yes, exactly. And thank you to my mother for helping out with the photography work there. Shout out to Poncho. Shout out to the Outsiders, namely Jason Dick. He is not joining us tonight. He'll be back next week. Apparently, there's a midnight sale on Diet Moon Mist. And you got to get in line, and there's a list. You have to sign up or whatever.
It's like a Star Wars thing. You camp out the night before, then one becomes available.
Yeah, it's really bizarre.
Get down off the damn counter.
There's a wristband. There's a wristband going on, and Chance has people climbing on his counters. So
not people. It's a Bengal cat, and his name is Tiger Woods.
Oh, Tiger Woods. Okay, that's it. So Tiger Woods, y'all, is climbing on your cabinets. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. That's what Bengal cats do. And they'll look at you straight in the eye and you're like, Tiger, no. And he'll look at you and he'll go, and he'll just knock the shit off just in spite of you.
They're too smart, man. They are way too smart for their own good. That is Chance Mock in your upper left. And the bottom of the T formation tonight is the country gorilla, Bo Edge. He is going to try to right the ship. He's going to try to turn that plane around, because he was inverted last week, just like Maverick and Goose.
Well, the logic of gambling 101 is if you have a run that's really good for a while, you're going to have a run that's not. And the second thing is when you run your mouth as much as I ran it during college football season, the gambling gods, they owed me one, and they bent me over something good.
There you go.
Well, that's better than bending you over something bad, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. So
the
Bo
things
was
that
over
happen
6.
on your patio or your business.
The Outsiders were at best average in the picks because Chance leads the picks at 3-3. We will get to the picks for the divisional round coming up. Chance has a team involved because he's a Bills fan. Our man Blake, the super producer, is going to give us his thoughts because he's a Chiefs fan. I am not only a Cowboys fan, but I am a Bucks guy, so I do still have a little bit of something in these playoffs. I don't know if they can beat Dan Campbell's crew, but we do have some interest in those games. So we'll get to that. We also want to say hello to everybody in the Specs chat. Oh, looky there. Haven't seen this guy in a while. Sal from New York City giving Blake a little love. We got Blake's in the chat. We got Blake, the super producer. And Chris Bennett's saying hello to all Blakes. Blake May, Blake, the super producer. There you go.
I absolutely love the little Outsiders community that has built in our. Not everybody gets to be a part of an organization that has chat streams where they become friends with each other because we put this show together. They don't even like us sometimes, or they don't like me. Let me rephrase that. but they're friends with each other.
Yeah, if you want to go back after the shows are done, just scroll through the chats. Conversations occur over there that sometimes have nothing to do with the show at all. Absolutely crazy. C. Sherman got his Outsiders hat today. Thanks to Bo and Blake. Thank you for supporting the show. Very nice. And then what was the here we go. It's one of our own, giving Chance some love. Uncle Chance's Bills will win, says Razor.
That's right.
Razor's taking those Bills.
How much did you pay my son off to spout that garbage?
He doesn't have to spout it. We know what's fixing to happen. We'll talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah, the divisional round. It is coming up. All right, gentlemen, let's jump on in. By the way, if you're on the Specs chat tonight, we do have a question for you on the chat. With baseball season coming up, I think it's February 3rd, right there at the beginning of the month is when Texas baseball cranks up. They're obviously going to be really good again. And we would love to have some Texas baseball guests on. We talked about a few. Give us your wish list. If you love your Texas baseball, who do you want to see and hear from on the Outsiders when it comes to Texas baseball once the season cranks up? Give us your best ideas in the chat, and we will take a look at that. And to Sandman, hi. How are you?
So
that was awkward.
I may have a special present for you and Chance and Jason now that he'll be back on Monday. Next Wednesday or Thursday, and we're going to have to see how the numbers play out on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Next Wednesday or Thursday will be our 100,000th download.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, the other day you sent us a message, and I swore I thought it said like 1010, and I was like, "Is he celebrating like the 1010th?" Like, well, I couldn't figure out what you were doing. You meant 100,000 downloads.
We are at about 96 and change, 97 going into tonight. So we'll see how the numbers exactly roll out. But next week will be our 100,000th download in less than 6 months, which is pretty cool, I think. And to commemorate that, I'm going to get a Texas baseball legend. I don't know whether he can appear Wednesday or Thursday. I've been trading texts with him, but he's a name everybody will know.
Okay.
And everybody has heard his dulcet tones numerous times describing the Texas Longhorns. So next week, we'll put it out there, but that will be my gift to y'all as we roll into baseball season.
Fair enough. We've already gotten some ideas coming in. Our man Chris Bennett wants to hear from the king of ping. That would be Dustin McComas from 5-Tool Baseball, formerly of Orange Bloods. Talking to Dustin would be awesome. Somebody suggested the Hispanic Titanic.
Let me put a caveat on what you threw out. Guys that are actively playing Major League Baseball aren't coming on the show at 9 o'clock at night in the middle of the season.
That might be tough.
It's not that we couldn't get Ivan Melendez. He's a little busy during the season.
That might be a little bit tough.
So I will say to y'all, are we allowed to have people that maybe weren't, because I have this crazy thought in my mind, because we do crazy things on here, right? We have had a guy named Brooks Kieschnick on. We've had a guy named Adam Dunn on.
That is true.
In my crazy mind, I think we need a Brooks and Dunn segment.
Oh my God. That'd be fantastic. You bring those two on, I'll sing Neon Moon. It'll be awesome.
Oh, we're going to have its own theme song. But Brooks and Dunn,
need a sponsor. So all you listeners out there, it won't cost you much. But if you want to be the sponsor, maybe not even for your company, but just Brooks and Dunn, brought to you by Bob in Tacoma, that's fine. We need a sponsor. So hit us up, because Brooks and Dunn is going to happen. If only just once.
That would be fantastic. All right, everybody envision this as I read the chat from Sal in New York City. JP Howell gave me a hook'em at Yankee Stadium. Maybe we'll have to check in with JP. Chris Bennett did mention Brooks Kieschnick. We've already had him on. We should get him on again.
Well, we just made a segment, and
we'll do it.
You kind of let the cat out of the bag since we've already approved it with both of them. Here's your gift, Chad. They're in.
There it is.
They love it. Now, I don't know about they love you singing Neon Moon as their intro music.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to love it. They're going to love it. We'll do Boot Scootin' Boogie one week. It'll be awesome. Roger Clemens has been mentioned. Kendall Rogers, who follows college baseball very, very closely. That'd be an interesting guy to get on as well. Oh, this would be it. This would be, the sun goes down on my side of town. It's cold as Notre Dame. Yeah, all right, we'll do that. We'll get it done. That's what we got to get done. Hey, real quick, breaking news, fellas. Let's get your reaction. Ohio State apparently is set to make Bill O'Brien their new offensive coordinator. Bo, your thoughts?
Is there something in the fucking water in College Station? What is wrong with the guy that y'all had? Your athletic director, first he hires the Kansas State OC to come down and wreck Texas A&M's offense. Then he moves up north to wreck another institution by hiring Bill O'Brien. What's
blaming
next?
Ross Bjork? It's Bjork's
Are they going to try
fault
and bring back the ghost of Emory Ballard at his next stop? What the fuck?
Wait a minute. Why isn't this Ryan Day's fault? Chance, this could be Ryan Day's fault.
It's all
right?
of their fault.
It's all their. Here's my question: at what point did you watch the Patriots offense and think this is the shit I want to bring to college football? Like ever?
Get me that.
I
Like,
mean,
at
in
some
his
point,
defense,
somebody
Will
was
Howard-
sitting there.
Will Howard is better as a quarterback than Mac Jones potentially. So
He's not better than Zappy.
he's not better than any of them because Will Howard sucked at Kansas State too.
But it blows my mind because there are so many young coaches, so many guys that bring some high-powered offense. And look, that whole conference is going to change the way it operates a little bit next year. It's going to take a while for it to fully evolve, but you're bringing some teams into the conference that are going to force them to change the way they play football. And you've got some young guys that are innovative, that have done stuff. And you find the guy that has wrecked everything he's touched. He's like the kid that walks into the toy store and breaks everything on the aisle. And then you're just left going, are you a fucking idiot? Like, I don't understand.
He's the only guy that made a whole season of Hard Knocks unwatchable. When they did Hard Knocks on the Texans, my family are Texans fans, and we couldn't even watch it because it was so god-awful boring.
But can I tell you what he said in the very first episode of that? The very first opening scene of the very first episode. And this is when I knew the Texans were completely up shit creek without a paddle. He's got all the coaches in there. It's his first coaches meeting, and he goes on a 35-second diatribe of how bad the organization is, how much the entire league laughs at them, how nobody respects what they do. And I'm going, why the fuck did you take the job?
Yeah, exactly. Let me tell you about this bucket of shit I just picked up. All right? Like, what? I remember that too, James.
That's rich coming from a guy who hosts a show called Crap Bag.
Yeah, good point. That's a good point. By the way, thanks to Blake on the chat. This is just a phrase I never thought of, but it's kind of fun to say. Bjork gonna Bjork. So a little Ross Bjork comment there. If you missed it this week, the former, I don't know if it's official yet, but Ohio State apparently is going to hire Ross Bjork, the Aggie AD, to be their AD, and then Bill O'Brien.
That's like addition by subtraction for your organization, Chad. Like that's bad news for Longhorn fans because your program just got better.
I am hoping so. I am hoping that is true. It is the Outsiders on a Thursday. We will make our NFL picks coming up. More portal news for the Longhorns in the last couple days. They did get Silas Bolden, the receiver from Oregon State. They did get Kendrick Blackshire, the linebacker from Alabama. So as of right now, it is 3 on the offensive side, 3 on the defensive side. And then there's a couple other names still cooking out there. Jabbar Muhammad, the corner from Washington, visited yesterday and today in Austin. And then Amari Niblack, the tight end from Alabama, he apparently is planning a visit to Austin to check things out. So, fellas, this might not be over. 6 portal guys could turn into 8, Bo.
I agree. According to Noah in the chat line, I don't know his bona fides, but Noah has said Amari Niblack's in.
How'd you say his name?
Noah Liebig?
No, you said Niblack.
Oh, Amari Niblack.
No, that is not how you say his name.
Niblack. Long eye and the color black. Niblack.
I'm a golfer. There's a damn club that was called a Niblack way back in the day.
Oh, well, if they named a golf club after it, of course.
Hey, it's not even the worst name I've mispronounced this month. So
That's
you know
true.
what?
Hey.
Amari Niblack, when he signs, then we can call him Niblack. But right now, only Noah Liebig has said that he's in. But Noah's in.
Christopher Bennett has now weighed in and said he's a Horn.
Yeah, I was going to say
Chris
multiple.
Bennett said let it be
Multiple
spoken.
folks are jumping in saying, yeah, apparently he has committed now, and that yes, there you go.
Don't you have like a bat signal on your phone from Catch at this point? Like y'all are attached. You should be getting these texts.
I have to turn the phone off while we're doing the Outsiders. I can't get,
Just silence the son of a bitch. You don't have to turn it off.
All right, I guess I didn't get that one. I guess it's there. All right, so
silent, so that way
that's how professional chat is. I'm texting people while we're on the show. I turned his phone off.
I'm trying to focus, man. I can't.
Chance is lining up a date for later, and Chad turns his phone completely off.
Hey, Jeff Ketchum is one of the most incredible, multitasking people I have ever watched in my life. That dude can do 8 different things while a show's happening. I've never been able to do it. I can barely figure things out. I can barely deal with a show and watch the chat at the same time. I gotta be careful when I walk and chew gum or whatever it is.
I think it's interesting though. You go back to your initial question. I mean, you're looking at 6, maybe 8, possibly 9 coming in from the transfer portal. And if you go back to Jeff Ketchum when they were in bowl practice and he talked about what he thought the team was going to do, and I give Jeff credit. I mean, at one time it looked like that number might fall to 4 or 5, but he kept saying, I think that number falls in the 7, 8 range, and I think there's a couple more that are hanging out there that possibly could happen. And I think it's hilarious that you see all these, and this is why I love the SEC. I love it. I mean, Texas is full in it now. If you go on any of these little group messages that are SEC, boy, they rip the shit out of each other. And everybody's mad because Texas, first of all, a lot of Alabama fans are. And let me say something. For Alabama fans, you've been living in a different stratosphere for the last 15 years. Okay? If you're under the age of 35, you don't know anything but Alabama being dominant. All you're doing is kind of like the feather in Forrest Gump. You're kind of coming back down to where the rest of us have been playing, But the shit talking is absolutely hilarious because they're like, oh, you're just buying them Lamborghinis. So what? Who gives a shit? If that's what it takes and you can do it, why wouldn't you? This is George Steinbrenner. When he's got the big pocketbook, he built New York Yankee after New York Yankee team. Don't give me that shit.
I want to be the evil empire. I want to be the one with Scrooge McDuck bags of money coming out of everybody's. Who gives a shit? Sports is entertainment. And I will say it till the day that I die. Unless you're competing on the field, like Chance did, then you can care. If you're a fan in the stands, who cares if they get paid more? Who cares the rationale? It's like when people bitch about it, well, that coach makes X number of dollars. They ain't your dollars. Who gives a shit? It doesn't matter how much a coaches get paid unless you're the one writing the check.
Did anybody tell me that revenue Texas generated this year?
$271 million.
That's a lot.
Maybe they should put that to the product.
Yeah. So part 1, that does sound like 2 Texas fans being Texas fans. I like that. And part 2, I agree with Sandman. This is just epic. Feather and Forrest Gump. I can see it, Chance. I can see it drifting down right now. It's fantastic. Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. Here's the interesting part. The interesting part to me, I'll admit, as an Aggie watching stuff like this, I do find it interesting when certain fan bases get mad about certain teams that do it. We used to live in a world, maybe we still do, that if a guy ends up at Ole Miss or a guy ends up at A&M, well, that's because of NIL. But if he ends up at Texas or Alabama, it's because of Texas and Alabama.
Well, and by the way, I saw on the internet, and we understand that not everything on the internet is true, but it was posted by his mother. So all the people saying Isaiah Bond did it for a Lambo, he did not. He did it for a jacked up Ford Bronco that was military green because I saw it on the internet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how about that modern version, fellas? I as soon as I saw that, I thought back to Rhett Bomar in Norman. And I'm like, man, we are in a different spot of college football. Brave new world when you can just stand and pose. Y'all remember the days with Bomar? Remember when who was the Arkansas running back that the car picture got out? Was that Felix Jones?
Yes.
I think it was Felix.
Was it Felix? Yeah, just the stuff that used to be all secretive and it was under the table, and now you can just jump on social media and the center for the Longhorns can be in a Lambo going, "What's up?" Like, that's awesome.
What would Eric Dickerson have done back in the day? Like, would he have not had to give the car back?
Well, and here's the thing.
He would have had one towing another. He would have just had
it would have been an episode of MTV Cribs with all the cars Dickerson had in a vault.
Would have been awesome.
Here's what's interesting to me, though, and it was pointed out, and I agree with this. Chad Gibson pointed it out in the chat. With all these people leaving Alabama, right? They weren't going to. There are programs that stand on tradition, and Alabama is one of them. They're a blue blood. But a lot of those guys, it wasn't about going to Alabama. It was about going to Nick Saban, because the guy put, like, what did we talk about? He had 29 losses in his entire life, our entire career at Bama, and 44 first-round draft picks.
Yeah.
When you go to play for Nick Saban, you know, I have a chance to get to that next level. It was never about Alabama. It was about Nick Saban, which is a testament to him. And it was the perfect storm of the right coach with a storied program that produced an phenomenal last 15 years. I mean, it was cool to watch it, but now that he's not there, really the dust is beginning to settle, and now the grounds are even.
Well, and one of our chatters made a point that they didn't go to Alabama for NIL money. They went to money to play for Saban and the NFL potential. That's partially true. But what happens when you combine both? When you have a guy like Sark, who was tutored under Saban and has now proven for a couple of years that he can train NFL level talent, you combine NIL money with that coach. Why do you think Saban's leaving? He's 73 years old. He doesn't want to play that game anymore.
Can somebody?
And he had to coach with Bill O'Brien.
Do you think I can get a Lambo for an NIL deal on the Outsiders? Can we run this? Anybody got a phone number? Somebody I could call?
I'm going to have lunch with Chad next week. So when I do, I'm going to stop at the HEB. And if they have a Lambo and those little Hot Wheels, I will get you one for sure.
Yeah, we definitely need to get the Mach 5, a retro Lambo deal. I like that. I like that one. That could help us out. And by the way, somebody chatted in here. This is Brandon. You get a Lambo. He gets a Lambo. Come on down to Austin, where everybody gets a Lambo. Hey, depends on
number 7. Isaiah Bond wanted a Ford Bronco, so that's what he got. Isaiah Niblack may want a jacked up pickup truck. We don't know.
Amari Niblack would be the name there. Yeah.
Oh.
A lot of names.
He hasn't signed up yet.
It's a lot of names to remember. Isaiah Bond, Amari Niblack. You got to deal with
Matthew
a gold.
I got it.
Yeah, it's tough. The Bond Golden Bolden. There's a lot going on there. All right, so let's see here.
Rodney Terry. So leave me alone.
We got our first super chat of the night at $5 from Blake. Sark is a Lamborghini riding, styling, profiling, and he's having a hard time keeping this transfer portal down. Woo! Lamborghini Sark. Thank you, Blake. There it is. That is definitely being Texas and kind of flexing that Longhorn ability. And I agree with Chad. This is what I thought of. Dr. Von Golden Bolden. That's exactly what I thought. I think it's from Fletch. Ketch thinks it's a Spies Like Us thing. I'm just saying, take those 3 words, say them in any order you want. It'll make you feel better. I promise. Golden Bolden Bond.
Well, the doctor scene was in Spies Like Us.
What's that?
The main doctor scene when he was Spies Like Us.
Yeah, that's what Ketch said. See, that's the Spies Like Us is one. I don't think I've seen the whole movie.
He's in the tent in the desert, and that's when he meets the lady. Like, because in Fletch, there is a doctor scene, but it doesn't involve any of those names.
Right. So I thought it was, but Fletch was given a lot of fake names, though, right?
Oh, yeah. John Tosin, and give me a steak sandwich and a steak sandwich and put it on the Underhill tab. But I don't ever remember a Dr. Bond Golden Bolden.
That's what I thought. But
unless it was from that god awful movie Fletch Lives, that wasn't good, and maybe that.
Yeah, not a great sequel. Not a terrific sequel there. All right, let's get ourselves caught up a little bit here, Bo, and talk about the windows from Texan Windows.
All right, I'm going to paint a picture for you because that's what windows do. Imagine looking out your living room, your dining room, wherever, and seeing kids playing when it snowed like it did a little bit. You get to see that nice snow. Well, you can only do that at a certain level with bad windows. Get the right window. Get a window that makes it a picture. Get a window that makes it visually appealing. Hey, and on top of that, you can get double pane windows that help keep the heat in your house to where you don't have to spend $1 million on your bills to keep your house warm. Texan Windows has been doing it for 50 plus years. I'm not a window expert, but they are. They can come out. They can give you an estimate on what it'll cost. They can tell you all the benefits. Scan the QR code and go to their website and see everything they have to offer. Give my boy Brian Haley a call, 512-987-8393. Diehard Longhorn, diehard Orange Bloods member, and the best window guy in Central Texas. It's Brian Haley with Texan Windows.
Bro.
All right, here we go.
What?
Our man Blake says, give me 2 claps and a Sark flare. Gentlemen, can I get 2 claps and a Sark flare? Come on now. Woo!
Hey, I got to tell you, we just did the windows. This is the greatest. It just popped in my head. Bo was talking about how he doesn't know much about windows, which he doesn't, because one time I come to visit Bo, and he wasn't home. Like, I drive 3 hours to get there and hang out with my buddy. And he wasn't home, and Bo's watching his phone. And he wasn't home. So I call him. He's like, well, just go to the side of the house. Well, the side of his house is like 6 feet off the ground. So I had to get like chairs, and I'm crawling through windows. My ass is hanging out. I'm surprised neighbors didn't try to shoot me and be like, who is this tattooed freak crawling through the window of Bo's house? That's how much Bo knows about windows. He can't even lock them, and I have to sneak in through them.
That is fantastic. Our man,
That's just wrong on so many fucking levels.
Sandman reminds us he was born with a golden spoon.
I'm gonna
And
be nice and talk about things I've seen at Chance's house. So
I enjoyed this next chat, guys. I want you to enjoy it as Texas fans because I think it's a good point. Colk says Alabama's so pissed right after they say they're going to investigate Texas for tampering. We get another commit. I love a world where Alabama fans, Chance, you referenced it. I've heard people talking about it this week, where Alabama fans are clutching pearls and getting just aghast at what these evil Texas Longhorns are doing. Unbelievable. The notion that after all these years of doing whatever it is they've been doing, and I'm not saying it was all wrong, but to run the show in the way that they have in some ways and now to get pissed off because of what Sark's doing and because they just, had the greatest coach in college history possibly retire. Like, they can't put all that together, Bo. It's got to be that Texas is cheating in some way.
it's, well, 2 things. It's not cheating. It's the rules. It's not cheating if you just have more people willing to do more. And let's be real. Everybody that says it's cheating, Texas hasn't got the most players in the portal. And it is like, yes, money plays a role because they're all paying salaries to these players through the collectives, etc. This ain't about money. It's about opportunity. It's a reason that Sark hired the coaches that he did. It's the reason that he brought Banks and Flood over from Alabama. It's the reason that he just hired Johnny Nannen from Arizona. He's hiring these elite coaches, and he's telling the players, you want to go to the league, come here and learn. And you get to learn in an upbeat 2023 environment that gets you Lambos. It's fun. It's cool. It's hip. Or you can go play for old Houndstooth, the 73-year-old relic. Yeah, he's got all the rings on his fingers, but do you really want to go hang out with that guy? No, he's an ass, and everybody thinks he's an ass. So why don't you come here where it's cool?
Wow. How about that?
Wow, he went there. Well, the funny thing to me is, Chad,
By the way, yeah, real quick. By the way, Bo, Johnny Nansen is the coach's name. I think Johnny Nannen is the bass player for BTO. Go ahead. Go ahead, Chance.
do not question Chad's authority.
I don't question Chad's authority. He hones in on the details way too damn good.
I'm so sorry.
I got the Johnny part right.
I'm so sorry. You did get the Johnny part right. Hey, you know what? Volleyball clap. Well done, Bo. Good job.
Mean, as many new guys as Sark's running through the building, I can't keep up with them all the damn name.
I know. There's too much Golden Bolden going on. I get it.
So, but here's the interesting thing, Chad, and you've watched it. You guys were in the SEC. From the beginning of the season, if you remember all the chatter from Alabama fans, from LSU fans, You don't belong in the SEC. You're going to get run over. It's not the Big 12 anymore. Zero respect, right? None. To all of the sudden, now Texas has become this giant threat that they're tampering and they're taking our players. And, it's like this entire shift of you don't belong. You're never going to make it here. You don't understand what it's like. It just means more in the South. To, oh my goodness, you're taking all of our players. Y'all are so bad. You're tampering. Like, it's a freaking funny. This is what makes fans, you know what fan is short for? Fanatics, because they are absolutely fucking crazy.
These people saying that we're tampering. Jabbar Muhammad, I think I got that one right, Chad. Jabbar Muhammad came and visited here. Guess where he's going this weekend? Alabama. Is it tampering because he went there? Are Texas fans going to say he was tampered with if the young man from Washington decides to go to Alabama or Oregon because he thinks that gives him a better opportunity to do what he wants? No, we're not. We're not going to think that Alabama outpaid him. It's just it's whiny bitch stuff. Like, if you really think it's all about money, then Ole Miss would have proven they would have a national championship 10 times over because they were the ones paying the most money when it wasn't legal.
By the way, 165 days from now, it's official. 165 days until Texas and Oklahoma are officially in the SEC. I cannot wait. Texas doing very, very well in the transfer portal. We've certainly discussed that. And as we mentioned, baseball season on the way. We're going to try to get some great Texas baseball guests on. We may have an outsider's relationship with Occupy Left Field. It may happen. We may try to reach out to the Occupy Left Field Army and see if they will speak to us. Bo, do you have any idea if the Occupy Left Field people will speak to me, or will I have to, is it going to be like in those movies where they're going to put a bag over my head and then bring me inside and then the bag comes off and I can't say where I've been? Is that what it's going to have to be?
Nope, you're approved. I had a nice phone conversation with Mark Pena, the founder of the Feast out in Left Field today. They seem pretty amped to have us, make an appearance, maybe do some video work, a show. Mm-hmm. We'll see how it works. There's a lot of ex-players running around out there. I've already lined up a few former players as guests throughout the season. I was on a roll today. I was texting up a storm while I was working. Nice. So we have tentative commitments from guys from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Ew, look at
First round draft pick Jim Gideon from the 70s.
Okay.
An announcer. We'll just say a Longhorn Network crew. Both ends of it have verbalized that they would like to be a part of something like that. We'll leave it at that. We got a list. Danny Peoples, Justin Simmons.
Nice.
There's plenty of them out there. And there's also the ones that hang out in left field. And you never know who we're going to catch from time to time out there.
And we haven't had Justin Simmons on yet, have we?
No, we have not.
Oh, boys.
The mayor, the mayor of Texas athletics.
Dude, I love talking to Justin Simmons. You want to believe that an athlete can just be a good dude? Justin Simmons is so much fun to talk to. Can't wait to have him on the Outsiders.
I've never seen anybody, speaking of Justin, I've never met anybody who is so impeccably dressed, no matter what the occasion, no matter what it is, no matter how many beers or whiskeys or vodkas, it doesn't matter. He looks straight out of a goddamn magazine while I look like straight out of a Shrek movie.
Oh yeah, he makes you feel like a Gorgon when you're next to him. You don't want to stand real close to Justin Simmons for too long. Everybody's looking at him.
He even looks like dressed and pressed when he's going hunting.
Yeah, that's true. But I will say two other people that I've gotten with, but we'll see what happens. One is for sure, it's my stepbrother, Shane Halter, who played with Brooks Kieschnick.
Okay.
He spent 17 years in the big leagues, or 17 years playing pro baseball. He was also one of 5 players to ever play all 9 positions in one game. And the dude has more stories than anybody you've ever met, and he will be a blast. The other one, y'all remember a guy named Jose Cruz?
No. Astro legend Jose Cruz?
Yes, it's taken some work. I'm good friends with his son, Enrique.
Oh, man.
Who actually played with Vincent, my best friend, Vincent Sinisi, who has slept on the couch at Bo's house as well.
at Bo's house, not with Bo's house.
Tony, what kind of stories are you letting out here, champ?
There are limits to these stories.
Man,
Like the video of Dick Morris with the guy walking out behind him.
He has slept at my house. He did not sleep. Like, we didn't share a couch.
hey, as much as I am a Rangers guy, if Jose Cruz can come on the show, that's bad. That's one of those batting stances that I think every kid of a certain age tried to mimic back in the day. Jose Cruz was a badass for the Astros.
Oh, played at 110% every pitch. It was incredible.
Love that dude. Love that dude. All right, so we're going to try to set up some cool baseball guests as we roll through, and we do appreciate everybody giving us ideas over in the chat of what we need to do. All right, it's just about time to get into these NFL games, but before we do that, Bo, let's go from the side of the house to the top of the house, Prosperity Roofing.
I wish mine looked like that.
Inappropriate. I don't know what the big deal is. Mine used to look like that.
Is your new roof what everyone's talking about? A new roof from Prosperity Roofing will certainly draw some attention.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Everything important in your life happens under your roof. Let Prosperity Roofing transform your home into something to talk about.
All right. For the record, my new favorite part of that spot is the dedication of the couple. The couple on the phone, the acting chops of both of those people. She goes out of her way to slap it out of his hand and give him the inappropriate. And his face, he tries to lock in on the gaze. It's beautiful.
I don't know if he's a method actor. I don't know what was on the phone. Maybe it was inappropriate.
I feel it. I feel it from both of them. Whoever you are out there in the Prosperity Roofing spot, excellent. Well done. Chef's kiss to everybody. Fantastic. All right, Bo. Also, let's give Last Stand a little bit of love because the lids are out there. There's one. Come on,
guys. If you want the merch, it's right there at Last Stand Hats. Use promo code Outsiders10. You get 10% off. You're legitimately worth the shit gear. They have 12 different versions of this hat. And then they also have great hats like the Occupy Left Field hat, the DBU hats. And as we've talked about many times over, it's not just Longhorn gear. Many of the other schools in the state of Texas, your Tarletons, your SFAs, your Sam Houstons, your North Texas, your Texas State, pretty much everyone but A&M and Texas Tech, they got. So if you want some gear from schools that don't think they're too cool for school, go to Last Stand Outsiders.
My God. You almost got there. Really.
He was this close.
You see that? Chance, he almost got there, and then that anti-Aggie, anti-Red Raider thing he
was so close.
I
was so almost proud of you.
I might as well have had a script. I did everything I wanted to do and more. I pissed off Aggies and Red Raiders, and I promoted our hat line. I'm pretty content with myself at the moment.
Oh my God. Yeah, for those folks that are looking forward to the GJ Kinney Major Applewhite battle, GJ's crew, y'all need to get your Texas State stuff from Last Stand Hats. They have some nice Texas
Maybe we could get with Last Stand and have them make a hat that has a Cookie Monster and send that GJ out in that to shake hands.
Oh my God.
That's good. That's a good one.
You want to talk about trolling on somebody?
Yeah. Cookie Monster, but in that
Cookie
color,
Monster.
like their garnet and gold, the kind of colors that they have, that'd be good.
This is a special edition Cookie Monster hat that GJ Kinney wears out to meet Major. And Major will know what it's about. If the stories that have been told on this show are true by multiple receivers, then it would be funny as hell.
That would be excellent. Excellent. All right. Thanks to everybody for jumping in the chat tonight. Thanks to Last Stand Hats for being a great partner. They sponsor all our interviews that we have on the Outsiders. Let's get into some NFL picks. Again, Jason Dick's not with us tonight. You'll see his picks in a second. Yeah. And I do want to get Blake, the super producer's thoughts on the games once we get all these out. But fellas, let's start with Baltimore and the Texans. Bo, I'm going to start with you. Do you think the Texans can make this a ball game enough to go plus 9.5, or are you going Ravens?
I'm going Ravens reluctantly. I think the Texans story is great. I think CJ Stroud is going to have a hell of an NFL career, but I just don't. Baltimore had 2 weeks to prep with a guy that's known as one of the best preppers in the coaching game in John Harbaugh. They've been dialed in, and Lamar Jackson, he's got a real case to prove. Like, Lamar Jackson's going to win his second MVP award. Lamar Jackson is building his Hall of Fame resume. The one knock on Lamar Jackson is that he hasn't won in the playoffs. I don't think Baltimore takes it lightly. I think the Texans are a damn good football team that's growing, but Baltimore is better. Right now, they're ahead of the curve, and right now they have better athletes, especially getting Mark Andrews back, who's a matchup nightmare.
Oh.
Yeah, Mark Andrews did go full practice. They didn't go all the way to say he plays for sure, but they think he might be able to go. Duvernay's back for the Ravens, and they just acquired Dalvin Cook. Just store that one away. They just got him to the active roster. That might matter. So, Chance, I'm going to agree with Bo. I'm laying the 9.5. Are you?
I'm not, and this is why I'm not. I think the Texans I do not think the Texans win. I'm like Bo. I'm loving CJ Stroud. I love the face that he brings to the Texans. I think he's handled himself like a 6th, 7th year vet. He's been phenomenal. The numbers have been incredible. And really with a makeshift group of wide receivers. I mean, there's a lot of speed with Tank Dell. He's going to be good. Nico Collins is really good. But Bevan Jordan, I mean, that's who you're throwing to. Dalton Schultz, that's what he's working with and what he's done. I think they keep it closer than 9.5, though. That's the thing. I think with their offense, they'll be able to score. I think Lamar will do what Lamar does and not have his greatest game. He hadn't played in almost a month. Think about that. He's had a while to sit down. He's going to be a little bit rusty, and Baltimore is what it is. I'll say this, though. I think this is an interesting game, and Bo touched on it. They don't say that Mark Andrews was full practice. That was a signal. If they was limited at all, they would have had him at limited. There's a reason that they put him at full practice, because in the NFL, those are very gray lines that you can have for full practice versus limited as to what you actually put. They put that there for a reason. John Harbaugh has been doing this for a long time. Mark Andrews is exactly what Bo said it is. They win, but the Texans keep it within 10.
All right.
So Razor wanted me to enlighten y'all with some of his Christmas presents.
Yes.
Speaking of CJ Stroud, we have the CJ Stroud autograph collection, including the graded 10 of 10. Both of them. Well, this one's 1 of 20, and this one's 1 of 4.
Okay, so is that an Ohio State and a Texans I saw, or both Ohio State? I couldn't
They're
see
both
one.
Ohio States because they're his rookie card. So
both Ohio State. Very nice. Nice stuff.
That's why we root for CJ Stroud, because he wants to get rich someday.
Hey, CJ's a badass, and we'll see if he can make that thing close. That's Saturday at 3:30. Then, gentlemen, it's the game I don't care about at all. It's San Francisco and Green Bay. Chance, let me start with you on this one. What about Kyle Shanahan having to lay 9.5? It's the same number for Baltimore. You going 9.5 with the Niners?
It's the same thing. I go with the same thing. I think Jordan Love has been incredible for the last 9 weeks. I think he's throwing the ball really well. He's seeing the field really well, and those defensive backs are playing very good football. I think San Francisco wins. I don't think they cover, so I'm taking Green Bay on this one.
Okay, likes the underdog. Bo, do you agree?
Unfortunately, no. And now that I've seen your picks and I know how this ends up playing out, this is basically Chance getting the trophy and me chugging 4 Locos in a couple weeks. Okay. But I'm going to – San Fran is too good. And everybody builds up this round of the playoffs, this divisional round, and teams that won because they got over on Mike McCarthy or other teams that won that just aren't – this is where the Cinderella story typically ends. With that, you have that rare exception of the Jaguars 20 years ago who made a run with Mark Brunell and things like that. But realistically, this is where the big boys come out to play. They're rested, they have better weapons, and they have a plan. And Kyle Shanahan, if I said Harbaugh was a planner, Shanahan's twice the planner. Shanahan's now, the only thing that threw a monkey wrench in it for Shanahan is he was planning on playing for the Cowboys, and they kind of screwed that up, so he had to kind of pivot. Right. But Shanahan's too good and knows Matt that was the Packers coach.
Merci Lafleur. Yes, Lafleur.
7 years of French, still can't say shit like that.
Yeah.
Lafleur.
Yeah.
San Fran routes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna lay the points as well. Think about it. The Texans, they're certainly the underdog there at 9 to 10 points. They were the 4 seed. They won a division. Green Bay's just the first 7 now to beat a 2. So this is a 1 versus a 7. A rested 1 against a 7. I think the Niners are going to – I don't want it to happen, Chance, but I think the Niners are going to roll in this game. I think Jordan Love's about to experience what Michael Penix did. A good game. People overcook him a little too much, and he's going to get smacked by that defense, I think, on Saturday.
Well, first of all, to make the Cowboys feel a little bit better, the 7 seed's only been around for like 4 years. So you're talking about a sample of 8 games. It's not like it's going back to the 50s that nobody's ever done this. So
does it look like I feel better? Do I look like I feel better?
I mean, I wouldn't.
How long is the Cowboys helmet going to stay backwards?
I don't know. A while.
How long are they in purgatory?
Until it learns what it did, Bo. Until it learns what it did. Good grief.
But look, San Francisco is the far superior team. They are. But I think they keep it close. This is the playoffs. You don't see big blowouts in playoffs because they are ultimately one of the best teams in the NFL. And they're too good. They're too prepared on both sides. I just don't see a blowout. I think San Francisco wins, and I think they win looking good, but I don't think it's a blowout. It's the NFL. It's not college. The NFL is about first downs, whereas college is about touchdowns. It's going to be controlling the clock, getting your points, and move on down the road.
Interesting. I like that one.
There's never been a blowout in the NFL playoffs. Ask your Bills.
How dare you? How dare you? All right, so that's the Saturday.
Going back to when there's Michael Irvin and Jay Novacek and Emmitt Smith and a guy named Troy Aikman. I don't know.
There's been plenty of blowouts in the NFL playoffs. When teams are surprise teams happen in one game in the NFL playoffs, the upset doesn't continue. This isn't the miracle on ice. Superior talent wins, and the rest helps. Give me both the number ones in decided fashion.
Yeah, I'm a little scared that I agree since Bo went 0-6 last week, but we'll see how that goes. On Sunday, it is going to be
Tampa. And even with 0-6, my record for the season is dramatically better than yours.
That is true because you showed where your expertise was in the college game, not in the pro game, right? We went all college during the season.
I just had the Rona, and it screwed my head up last week. And I drank too much Dayquil, and mixing Dayquil with brown water apparently has a reaction that turns your brain into mashed potatoes. Well, I'm not taking Dayquil anymore, so now I'm feeling pretty damn good.
Fair enough.
Mashed potatoes.
Fair enough. All right, so whether we like it or not, either Baker Mayfield or Jared Goff is getting to the NFC Championship game. They play on Sunday. Gentlemen, it's Detroit -6.5. Bo, do you think Detroit wins by a touchdown?
Yes, because Dan Campbell watched the press conference. He heard the question, and he's had his minions bringing in snow and turning the AC down. He is going to make that dome an icebox, and Tampa will have nothing for it. Detroit wins. Amon-Ra St. Brown to the rescue. Jamar Gibbs, the whole 9 yards. Detroit wins by 10+.
Have y'all ever seen a press conference question and answer that I get nervous every time I watch it. I get uncomfortable every time I watch it. For those that didn't see it, a woman that was reporting for Tampa literally asked a long 40-second question to Todd Bowles as if Detroit plays outdoors. And Bowles was as nice as he could be, as respectful as he could be, Chance. But, oh, my God, by the end of it, he's like, yeah, it's like 20 seconds getting off the bus. I felt so bad for everybody in that room because I don't know how something like that happens, but I was mortified for everybody.
Well, how many of those people in there do you think are like, there's either one of two things. Either they're her friends and they're sitting there going, who's going to be the one to stop her? I can't stop her. Or they just really don't like her and they all sat back and went, oh, dear God, let's watch how this handles.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best theory is that she probably doesn't cover sports all year, and it's the roster is been trimmed. Maybe people were just laid off or something, and they sent her over there, and all she's thinking was, "Hey, they're going to Detroit. I just watched 2 really cold games last week. They're going to Detroit. It's cold as hell in Detroit.
Yeah,
This is going to be an angle. I'll bring it up
where
to
she
the
doesn't get off the hook.
to the warm weather coach. I'll bring it up, and then
She put enough research into it to know the exact temperature it was going to be. She said 13 degrees. She done her homework.
I know.
How do you do that's like doing half the homework. But beyond, can you imagine if she wouldn't have got Todd Bowles? Can you imagine some of the coaches in the NFL if she'd have hit them with that?
Oh, what if she was in Atlanta and somebody named Bill Belichick was the guy taking the question?
Yeah.
And she was asking about, you're going from Atlanta up to Detroit. It's 17 degrees up there. How are you guys going to prepare? What would Belichick's answer be?
Oh, it'd be a great mumbler.
Would he even say anything?
Imagine Bill Parcells sitting at a microphone and getting asked that question.
I was thinking Parcells or Ditka would have cussed him out.
No. Let's take it to the top. Ask Mike Leach that question.
Oh,
that would have been gold. Gold, Jerry. Gold.
Damn. You're right. That would have been gold. All right. So Bo, sounds like Bo is laying the points. Chance, do you agree?
I do. I like what Baker and the Bucks have done. I really like that organization, to be honest with you. But I think they're going up to Detroit. I think Detroit hadn't had until last week in a playoff win since '92. A couple years ago, they didn't win a single game. I think that place is going to be rocking. I think Dan Campbell will have his guys ready to play, and I think it's going to be a very physical game, and I do think Detroit wins. Again, I don't think it gets over 10, but I think it gets over 6.5.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to end up there too. I think the group of Aggies are going to end up breaking my Buck fan heart here. They beat them earlier in the season 20-6. I love seeing the replay because it's when the Bucks wore the orange uniforms. But what you'll see there are Lion receivers cutting through that Bucks defense. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's already been mentioned. I think one of you guys mentioned him. He had 12 catches in the first game. I'm also scared about what Josh Reynolds could do in that game. I'm with you, Chance, exactly that. It's about 7-10 in my mind. I'd love to think the Bucks could fight this thing back to 3 or 4 or maybe even win the damn thing. But in Detroit, I think it's kind of a meant-to-be grit situation for them. I think they're going to get to the title game, and I think they'll cover.
By the way, Chad, back in the radio days when we were all together, did you ever get a chance to meet Amon-Ra's dad?
No, I've never met
Equinemius's dad. Oh my God, that guy is a riot.
Yeah, his name's not Gary Brown. It's
John Brown.
John Brown. Thank you. I knew it was a basic name.
He was Mr. Universe 2 or 3 times out of Compton, California, and he used to go on with Sean Adams and Chip at various point.
After I got fired
on a radio interview that he picked his wife out because she was breeding material in Germany, and that's what he got with her. And she's like this massive body lifting female. He married and procreated with her to make Amon-Ra Equinemius, so he had athletes.
Yeah, and if you're gonna complete it, who's the third one? What's the third name? You know it?
I can't think of which one it is.
The kid that went to Stanford, Osiris.
Osiris, that's right.
Yeah,
he's the best of all of them.
He may still be because he's the youngest of the 3, if I'm not mistaken. Because it was Equinemius and then Amon-Ra. Yeah, it's just an incredible family. They are unbelievable. It's like he watched Richard Williams and that story and said, "Oh, dude, hold my beer. Watch what I'm about to do." It's unreal. So we'll see what happens with the Bucks and the Lions. All right, now we get to the 4th game. We get to the first time ever in a non-Super Bowl playoff game. Patrick Mahomes has to get, what do they call those things? Oh, yeah. Has to get a suitcase, and he has to pack something and go to somebody else's house for his first playoff road game. He's headed up to Buffalo to take on Chance's Buffalo Bills. Bills minus 2.5. Chance, you get to start here. Do you like your Bills to win by 3?
All right. I'm going to say this. I figured out how I feel about this game, and I thought long and hard about it all week. And here's what it is. You guys ever been into a fight?
Thankfully, no. I've never been in an actual get punched in the face fight. Some say I need it, but I've never had it.
I've been punched in the face a couple times, I promise you.
Well, I'm talking about the planned fights. Like when you're in high school and there's like, all right, I'm going to see you after school. And you're like, all right. So this is how I feel about this game. I feel like we got into a fight at school, and then he called me out to his backyard. And I went to his backyard, and he whooped my ass. Mm-hmm. And then I was talking all this shit about how his backyard was the only reason he beat me, and he needs to come to my backyard, and I'm going to beat that ass. Mm-hmm. And then he showed up. And so it's this emotional, like I'm excited about the fight, but there's still this insecurity.
Yeah, right.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, because last week I didn't think with all the snow and everything, I didn't think the Bills offense would be able to pop off. So I took the Steelers. I am sacrificing my pick to the pit because we have to sacrifice the pit. I don't know if you know about the pit, but ever since we started our win streak, somebody has fallen in the pit and been sacrificed to the pit every week, and we have won every week since then. Mm-hmm. We wanted to sacrifice Taylor Swift. She declined.
Blake, if he saw that, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm. So I'm sacrificing my pit. I am saying that they will not cover. The Bills will win, but they're not going to cover. I'm going to go with the Chiefs because I'm not changing anything up. I picked Steelers last week. I'm picking the Chiefs this week. Go Bills.
There you go. I like it. All right. So he's going Kansas City plus the 2.5. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm challenging the Bills here until I see somebody take down Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I always kind of lean towards that team in the playoffs. Even when the Bucs beat them in the Super Bowl, I didn't even believe it was going to happen until like a minute 20 to go, something like that, because I kept waiting for Patrick Mahomes to come back. Bo, what do you think? Bills minus 2.5.
It's a tough one. Because the Chiefs aren't what they used to be. And I think that's readily apparent. Mahomes still is what he used to be, but the rest of the Chiefs are not the same Chiefs. Yes, Rashee Rice looks pretty good, but they're not that explosive as the Chiefs have been. But the problem is Buffalo, I think Texas may have better linebackers than Buffalo is going to roll out there this week because Buffalo is bringing guys off the street. They don't have enough bodies. And what do you need to cover Travis Kelce? Linebackers and bodies. So I think
it's back healthy. He's back off of concussion protocol.
Listen here, Bill.
So is Dorian Williams, a guy that runs.
I'm picking your damn team, even though you didn't. I'm just saying it's a complex conversation because if the Bills were 100% healthy, I'd take the Bills every day of the week and twice on Sunday. But they have holes right now, and this could be Travis Kelce's last game. Y'all think I'm joking, but at some point he's got to walk off.
I think it is. I think he wants to retire with Jason together. I think that's why Jason came out and said he's not retiring from his show because I think they want to announce it together. And I think those two going into the Hall of Fame together would be one of the coolest stories you could write.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
Can you imagine the TV ratings for both brothers putting on gold jackets at the same time?
That would be wild.
Their podcast would get even more popular. I'm taking Buffalo. I don't know why. I just think Chance is owed one.
Okay, fair enough. So he's taking Buffalo minus 2.5. Bills Mafia fan has spoken. Let's get a little Chiefs Kingdom into this thing. Blake, the super producer, he's rocking the Kansas City hat. He's got the Kansas City helmet behind him. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings in his pocket, 3 total. Blake, what do you think? What happens on Sunday?
First of all, I'm a Chance, and I'm really just fired up for this game. This is the game that needed to happen. It needed to be in Buffalo. This has been long overdue. So first of all, pumped up about the game. I also agree with Bo in that this is not the same Kansas City team that we've seen in past year's playoffs. Very different team. I think this Kansas City defense is a lot better this year, significantly better.
That's their strength.
The key is obviously the defense taking care of business, getting a couple of turnovers on Allen. And then the key is running the offense through Rashee Rice. He has to be the cornerstone. He has to be catching balls and making big plays. That opens it up for Kelce. That opens it up for Pacheco. All that said, it's going to be a really close game. I said earlier on Chad's show, it's going to come down to the last possession. I think it'll be single digits. It'll be within 3 points. I'm picking Kansas City by 3.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, Kansas City, a hard animal to kill in the playoffs.
And again, it could be a missed field goal. It could be a bad snap. It could be anything like that. chaos could ensue and either team could win.
And if you haven't seen those numbers yet, Chance sent them to us earlier. These two have faced each other, the quarterbacks, 6 times, and it is a 3-3. There it is, right there. There they are. There are your scores.
The problem for Chance and the good thing for.
But can you notice what color he's wearing in every one of those pictures except for one? And that one time that Josh was in a blue jersey was during COVID, and there were no Bills Mafia in the stadium.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great point, Chance. And watching Mahomes, and Mahomes has even said he's excited about it. Like, obviously, he'd rather be in Kansas City, but he knows that environment is badass. He wants to go and see if he can shut up the Mafia, and that's tough to do. It's going to be a great scene. Going to be cold as hell again, but not quite as crazy as what they had last week, I think. But it's going to be cold. It's going to be wild, and it'll finish off the weekend. It should. That's exactly where it should be. Sunday, 5:30, CBS, Romo and Nance. Good afternoon, friends.
Tracy Wolfson out of there. Don't leave Tracy Wolfson out of there. She's going to be on the sideline.
Tracy on the side. How many times do you hear Tracy Wolfson talk when you think to yourself, oh, she thinks Romo's a wackadoodle. She thinks Romo's insane. Absolutely.
My favorite thing about her is she can't be taller than 5'1". And so when she does every post-game press conference, like when she's talking to Josh, who's 6'5", creeping up on 6'6", she's like, so Josh, I've got to ask you about that last ride. And he's like, yeah, he can't even hear. She's like in a whole different layer of the atmosphere.
That's fantastic. All right, there are the picks.
I heard a hilarious description of Isaiah Pacheco on a podcast the other day. He said, he runs like Earl Campbell in Chris Johnson's body.
Oh, that's an interesting. Yeah, that's a great compliment too.
He's a fun guy to watch. I enjoy watching him, and that's the cool thing about this rivalry is I don't have hate for the Chiefs like I do for the Dolphins and some of these other teams that we play. I think there's a mutual respect between the two.
Man, I'm the same way. I freaking love the Bills. I really do.
So. It'll be awesome. But I want to get to something real quick before we get off. There was a super chat, and somebody asked a really interesting question about the fastest receivers. They were talking about, there was a super chat from earlier in the show, and they were asking about, with the talk of all the speed of these receivers, who was the fastest receiver that I played with? And so I was thinking about it, and it's gonna shock you. I would say Montrell Flowers was the fastest guy that I threw to. Not a name a lot of people think about. Phenomenal deep threat and great with the ball in his hands. He was great on the screen plays. We'd run that little bubble screen to him, and he would hit the sideline, and he could fly.
There you go. There is your answer. By the way, this is an idea from Blake off the chat. And, Bo, you may want to be in touch with the Last Stand guys if they haven't thought of it. Need an FAFO hat. That's not a bad idea. Just, if you're going to go all gas, no brakes, the FAFO, probably a good idea. Blake, it's a good call. Somebody else wants a Tuscaloosa at Texas merch.
That's funny.
Oh, my God. That's fantastic. And this is uncalled for, Tex Guy. My prediction is that the only team to lose at home this season in the playoffs will be the Cowboys. All home teams went out from now on. Did you hear that? Did you hear what they said? Good grief.
Hey, I will say there is a weird asterisk to the Mahomes stat. He's never played a road playoff game, right? That Super Bowl against the Bucs was in Tampa Bay.
That's true.
Which is the only time a home team has ever hosted the Super Bowl, right?
Well, no, remember the Rams did it the next year.
Oh, the Rams did it the next year.
We had it. We never had it, and then you had a back-to-back. As strange as that was, 55 and 56, we had it. But that's a great point. It was, if you want to define it that way, it was a true road game. But back to Chance's point, what season was that? COVID.
Yeah. COVID.
And also, the Chiefs lost that game.
They lost the game. Yeah. They lost the game, and they lost it pretty definitively. But also, it had like that weird COVID. It's a Super Bowl crowd, but it was just a strange crowd. He's going into the teeth of all of it. The weather, the mafia. It's going to be awesome. Just going to be awesome. Hopefully, he's got multiple helmets, like warming on the side in case one of them cracks again.
That's the wildest shit I've ever seen. That shows how freaking cold it was there. That the pop shattered, the freaking plastic was shattered because it was frozen.
Right.
I think that's why the refs screwed up the mechanics of it, because they didn't even know what the rule was when the helmet, right. Because technically, and Chance, tell me if I'm wrong, he could have played with the broken helmet because just like you could break your shoulder pad, they're not taking it. Like they couldn't make them take a timeout because they wanted him to put the helmet on because they didn't want him to get hurt, but they know he was going to stay on the field with the broken helmet.
Mm-hmm. He was.
I don't think they knew what to do in that exact moment, so they just let him go get a new one.
Yeah, but he took a snap after that.
Yeah, and then he was mad, and you guys, I'm sure, heard it because the helmet they got him was frozen. He's like, "Hey, we got to look at where we're putting these extra helmets, man. This thing was ice cold."
They ended up taking the guts out of the old helmet and putting it in the new helmet during the break.
Yeah.
And of course, Chris Bennett pointed out it was former Longhorn Deshaun Elliott who delivered that shot.
There you go. Of course it was. And it is one of those, that's what those new helmets are designed to do. That's a Vices helmet that's got the give, and that outer layer is supposed to give, like a car crash or whatever.
It's not supposed to be frozen.
Right. It's not supposed to be -20 or whatever. And the makers came out this week, the helmet makers, and said technically that helmet did what it was supposed to do. It protected him, and even the best helmet we can make in those temperatures, you never know. So hopefully Patrick's helmet will be all right this week. A lot of good NFL stuff coming, obviously, this week. We will look forward to that. Let's take a look at the picks, Blake, so we can see Jason's picks as well, see who he agrees with on this one. We'll see if Chance can stay in the lead, working on 3-3. We got the 2-4s. Jason 2-4 along with me. He likes the Texans. He's going Niners laying the points, Lions laying the points, and he's going with the Chiefs. So we got some good mixing of picks there. So, Bo trying to get out of the cellar.
You know that expression they say? You know how you make sure that if a pride of lions is coming after you and your friends, how you don't be the one that gets eaten by the pride of lions?
Just be.
You don't have to be the fastest. You just have to not be the slowest. So 0-6 can catch up to y'all. Sorry, 2-4s this week and keep me out of the Four Loco sweepstakes.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, right. That's the old
Chance
joke.
is
right?
the fastest. Chance is gone. His 40's good. He's out of there. The Lions aren't eating him. I just have to outrun you or Jason, and I'm taking my chance.
That's it. Why are you smiling, Dale? Because I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you.
Well, looking at the picks, all you got to do is outrun Jason because you got to. Well, no, you got two differs with Jason. You got one different with Chad.
Yeah. There you go. Bo's trying to make it up. Bo,
should the general public be all over the Buccaneers plus 6.5 after seeing this?
Probably.
It's a thought.
Man, I hope so. I hope the Bucs make that thing close. Chance made a comment about him a second ago. They are not the most beautiful thing ever put on television, fellas. But if you play the wrong football game, that Bucs team will make it tough for you. You got to beat them.
Talent.
You have to beat that team.
Did somebody see the meme that was going around social media today that said Lincoln Riley goes to watch one game and all of a sudden the DBs can't tackle? He was on the sideline at the game.
I hadn't even thought of that. It is always good when you're watching the game and the team that you want to win, they just never get tackled. Like it was awesome.
It was fantastic.
Oh, my God. All right. It is just about time to get things wrapped up. But before we do, in case you're looking for a new car, truck, SUV, those coverts have some ideas for you. Let's see some of them.
You want to experience the edge of innovation, the power of performance? Look no further. Introducing the 2023 Ford Edge. Equipped with cutting-edge technology and unparalleled safety features, experience the comfort of the spacious interior and the thrill of its powerful performance. Visit our dealership today or covertford.com. The all-new 2023 Ford Edge. It's not just a ride, it's a journey.
All righty. There you go. There's your QR code if you want to give it a scan. And remember, Bo tells us he's counted them up individually that next Wednesday is his prediction for the 100,000 views?
100,000 downloads of the Outsider shows. We will have had 63 shows in the books. And yes, I am the guy that looks and writes down the number. I have a Google Doc spreadsheet where we keep the numbers. It keeps the running total. And because we don't own the channel, we're just a part of a channel. But for our particular show, next week will be 100,000 downloads, which as
Cool.
when this was conceptualized, I didn't know that was what was going to happen, and I think it's awesome.
That is very cool. Very, very cool. You know what? That is a volleyball clap to all the people watching The Outsiders.
Right.
Well done. Well done. We appreciate you. We literally could not have done it without you because we can't do that. We can't figure out a way to do 100,000 views. I can barely figure out how to click the like button if I'm myself. So
It took me like a month.
Oh, my God. I mean, it's literally shaped like a thumbs up, and I couldn't. Anyway, so thanks to everybody for their support, for liking, subscribing, and yes, getting those notifications. Before we get out of here, one more time, it is The Outsiders, brought to you by Poncho, PonchoOutdoors.com. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, my goodness. I mean, you talk about the double handsome, burnt orange, maroon, and white. Can't we all just get along with our Poncho shirts? They got that fancy phone pocket for you. They got the little slit in there. You put your sunglasses or your glasses in there. Got the glasses cleaner. Now, my glasses cleaner is a little more freewheeling there. My dad likes to tuck in the shirt, so a little different. There you go. Poncho Outdoors.
And so all the chatters, yes, views. That I don't know the difference between views, downloads. I don't give a shit. The number on YouTube, views. We'll call it views. I'm sorry I used the wrong word. I'm not an expert on this stuff.
I like how you're trying to convince them that you don't give a shit and you've individually counted up to 100,000. I don't even care. I don't even care.
No, I do care about how many people are watching us because we're trying to sell this, even though I'm failing miserably. We're going to keep trying to sell it. So if you want to advertise on The Outsiders, don't be afraid to hit me up. But beyond that, I don't know the terminology or the lingo. So
yeah. I believe there you go. Meat pies. That's what they call them. They call them meat pies.
100,000 meat pies.
100,000 meat pies.
If you had one, you would want 100,000 because they are freaking awesome.
There it is. 100,000 meat pies as of Wednesday. Meat pies as of Wednesday. That's going to happen. All right, kids. That's going to do it for your Thursday show. We will be back on Monday for another Outsiders show at 9 o'clock. NFL playoffs will be down to the championship games. We will know the Final Four in the NFL. Will the Houston Texans shock everybody? Will C.J. Stroud go to the AFC title game? It could happen. Never know. He'd have to go to Kansas City or Buffalo to try to get it done after that. Now, that'd be a wild story. We'll talk about that or whatever else happens on Monday. Obviously, keep it right here on Orange Bloods Live. Get those notifications because the portal stuff just won't stop, and the Longhorns just won't stop getting guys out of the portal and pissing Bama fans off. We'll be telling you all about it throughout tomorrow and throughout next week, and we'll just keep it rolling. Thanks to Blake, the super producer, for all his great work. Best of luck to his Chiefs. Best of luck to Chance's Bills. I won't pick a side. I just want to see how that one plays out. We'll have a lot of fun talking about it on Monday, and we'll see if the Bills bowling pin is still facing forward on Monday. If not, it may have to just go to the wall along with the helmet. We'll see. We will see what happens. All right, everybody have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves and get ready because there's another cold snap coming in the Central Texas area. So everybody be safe until Monday night at 9 p.m. We are The Outsiders, brought to you by Poncho, and we are legitimately worth a shit.
Go Bills.